Hello, and in this video I'm going to be looking at some of the bikes being used in this year's Transcontinental Race. If you haven't seen it already, I'm doing daily updates of the race on my YouTube, so hit subscribe if you want to see what's going on as we look at the dots heading across Europe. But yeah, for this video I'm going to dive into the bikes. Now there's not been that much information available, so I've had to dig deep and see what I can find. So this first bike is it's the race leader, the current race leader, Christof Strasser from Austria, and he's riding the Specialized, I think it's a tarmac, full Dura race by the look of it, Roval wheels, and I suspect Specialized tyres as well. He's a Specialized sponsored rider, so it would make sense that he has everything on there. And as you can see, it's the interesting thing about the Transcontinental is certainly in more recent years there's more and more gravel sectors, but there's a hell of a lot of tarmac, so you've got to have a nice balance between the two. So the Roubaix, I guess, is Specialized. It's more I don't know, it's more comfortable, slightly more upright than their full-on racing bikes. Perfect for this kind of thing. He's gone for the his Apogura luggage on there, trying to keep everything streamlined. Obviously, you know, aerodynamics play a part in all types of cycling, and yeah, he's trying to keep everything kind of in line with the frame, and then he's got the saddle pack on the back. Interestingly, he's got a couple of extra water bottles on the back there, so I reckon, well, that's a 1 litre bottle in the frame there, and then 3 750ml bottles, so he can carry a good amount of water. And yeah, working for him so far, as he is currently leading. So the next bike I've got is for second position. You can see on the map, number 3 there is Robin Gemperle, and yeah, this is what he's riding. So he's actually riding the Scott, I think it's the Addict gravel. So it's a gravel bike, and you can see here, you know, around the fork, there's quite a lot of clearance. Looks like he's running the Continental GP5000. Can't quite see the width, but they look like they're probably 30mm, maybe even 32mm. Again, it's a balance of comfort, speed, and having the grip over the gravel sectors. Obviously, the gravel bike, I suspect, is going to be a bit more upright, probably not far off the Roubaix, to be honest. And he's running, looks like SRAM Axis. Is it the Force or Red? I can't quite see. And he's got a very similar setup to Strasser in terms of luggage. It looks like he's actually going a little bit lighter. He's not got the full-length top tube bag, but he's got the inline frame bag and the saddle pack. Clip-on aero bars, and he's light on the front there. Everything lined up nicely, so it's nice and aero. But he's not. Doesn't look like he's got the capacity for extra water. Just a couple of bottles on there. But again, he's done well so far. Second position. He has actually had a few tyre issues in the race, so he's ended up splitting one of these tyres and has ended up fitting some like city tyres. Whether that will slow him down or not, I'm not sure, but he's a very capable bike handler with a mountain bike background, so I guess riding a gravel bike kind of suits that kind of style. Heading down the field now, well, the next one is Marin de Saint-Exupéry. He has been in third for a lot of the race, but it seems to have dropped back with either, I think he might be in an extended stop rather than a mechanical issue. But yeah, he's still rolling along in that chase pack behind Christof Strasser and Robin Gemperle. And I mean, this is a cool looking bike. It's a Fairlight. Is it the Strail, the road bike? Steel tubed, kind of classic looking. None of this carbon nonsense. And yeah, he's again. We see very, very similar setups now. I guess like a pattern's been kind of created, certainly for the front runners in the race. Big frame bag, biggest you can get. Marin's a tall guy, 6'2", 6'3", similar height to me, and he's got this big frame. So as you can see, he's got a massive frame bag in there. He doesn't need the top tube bag, and just the saddle pack as well. And you may know, remember Christof had like a big bottle, then a small one, but it looks like actually Marin can get 2 big bottles in the frame there. It's a benefit of being tall, something that same for me as well. And actually, so the other two look like they were running battery lights, but Marin is running a dynamo setup. So you can see the dynamo rear light there. You can't quite see the front light tucked behind the hoods. But I know this for a fact because I sorted the wheels out for him. So they are custom, they're from Hunt, the 48 Limitless, which is like the super aero race rim. And he's got a Son dynamo in there. He actually used these wheels last year in the Transcontinental Race where he was 5th, I believe. So well proven. And again, it looks like looks like there might be Hutchinson tyres on there. 28-30mm, I suspect, to take on those gravel sectors. A nice little touch is his chain loop just on the little, it's like a pump mount on the side here. So you can get it at all times. Aero bars as standard, and then he's got his rain jacket just tucked in between the aero bars. Just keeps a little bit more extra space in the frame pack for food and the like. And group set, he's running Di2, and I'm a big fan of Di2, probably more so than the SRAM Axis. I just they've just got, it's got a really long run time. So when I did TCR in 2015, I used the Di2, and I think I just topped it up once, but I'm pretty certain I could have got the whole way. And when I've done other events such as GB Duro, which is an off-road ultra in the UK, you're shifting way more than you would on TCR, and I got exactly 7 days before it went flat. The race was 8 days, but I just topped it up with a battery pack. So if you're going to stay in a hotel or at one of the checkpoints at some point during the race, it's quite easy just to top it up and make sure you get through the race. So I've got no qualms about Di2, and it really does make shifting a lot easier. Just the click of a button. There's no cables to get full of grit and stuff like that. And he's on the Ultegra. Ultegra 12 speed by the looks of it. SPD pedals. You may know a lot of the riders have got SPD pedals rather than road cleats. I guess it's because if you do have to end up walking for whatever reason, or it's wet on one of these off-road sections, it means you can walk over it easier. And also clipping round a shop, a supermarket with shiny metal cleats on the bottom of your road shoes after riding your bike for a week solid doesn't always end well, as I can attest to myself. In the end, I used to just take my shoes off and walk around barefoot in the supermarkets. So yeah, that's Marin's setup, really nice looking setup, and he's doing all right so far in the race, in contention for a third place. Now on to this is Nikki Shaw. So she's about fifth probably in the women's field at the moment. Again, we see a very similar setup with the bags. I mean, like I said, it's kind of the pattern, although she's got a little bit more extra gear. She's got this kind of bag under her aero bars. So yeah, if you need to take more equipment, that's it's better to have the front bag end on rather than sideways on a road race, because aerodynamic drags. I do believe actually if you have a bag like that, it could probably sort of enhance your aerodynamics a little bit, but at the speeds we're going, it's probably not going to be a massive gain. I'm not quite sure on the bike. I think might be a Rond, I think. But yeah, no dynamo, stayer rims. Can't quite see the tyres. Are they Hutchinson again, or are they Conti's? But yeah, another kind of it's a fairly typical setup now, and looks like, are they egg beater pedals again? Mountain bike pedals anyway, Crank Brothers ones. Just better walking around when you're off the bike. The next one, this is an interesting one. I can't actually remember whose this is, but he's gone for the time trial setup, the full time trial setup. It's Parley TT frame, super aero, deep section Reynolds rims, and again, similar thing, big saddle pack, frame pack in there. That's the most sort of aero way to set it up for a road race. It looks like he's got the extra bottle mounts on the back of the pack, same as Kristof. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not so sure on the time trial bike for the Transcontinental Race. It's, in my experience, 2015, there was a guy, Alton Coyle. He was the UK 24-hour time trial champion. He turned up on his time trial bike, and to be honest, I was really worried about him for the first week before we got through the Alps. He was really, really fast on those rolling roads in the north of Europe. Slowed down a little bit in the mountains, but then there were some gravel off-road sections, and then narrower time trial tyres. You just don't have the clearance in these frames for like the 30 or 32mm tyres, and he really suffered. And I suspect that this is going to be the case as well. Super fast early on, but that aggressive position, the head angle is not quite as slack, so it's going to be a bit more twitchy, controlling. If you hit potholes, I don't know. It's just going to make it more uncomfortable than it needs to be. And it's all well and good having a super fast bike, but if you're not comfortable enough riding it, and then you can't ride as many hours in the day, or you need extended breaks, it's almost kind of pointless. And again, limited hand positions as well. So yeah, time trial bikes are a bit of a no from me for the Transcontinental Race. Doesn't mean it's not possible, but I just think it favours more of a traditional road bike. Now this is Lisa Feiser. I don't quite have a full picture of her bike, unfortunately. But it's just it's a slightly different take on the setup. Now, I've been banging on about aerodynamics, but you know, Lisa has gone more for comfort than she has aerodynamics. So you can see a similar frame setup, and you know, it's a smaller frame as well. So she's had to get creative with the bottle. So you see her bottle mount is quite high up, so she can get the 2 full-size bottles in there. Just takes a little bit of ingenuity when you don't have a massive frame like, you know, Marin's bike we looked at just now. But again, similar top tube bag, mini frame pack, and a saddle pack. She's not gone for the aero bars, but she's gone for the like I said, more comfort over anything. Got a front dynamo wheel, a hunt wheel, and Hunt 50 on the back. But she's also got the Renners tyres. They're 38mm. They're the Barlow. I think they're Barlow Pass, those ones. Super fat slicks, so they'll be super comfy, super cushy, and pretty good on those off-road sections. And you can see smaller chain rings as well. I think she's got like a 42 or something, big chain ring. Like on the Transcontinental Race, you don't really need to push big gears. Quite often it's better to run a slightly smaller chain ring, like a compact 50, maybe even less, 48, 46. Just spin your legs and save them till the end. So yeah, that's Lisa's setup there. And I thought I'd finish, with my own setup from 2015, the classic layout photo. So yeah, this is nearly almost 10 years ago, not quite, the year I won the Transcontinental Race, and this is basically everything I took with me. And I just had a frame pack. I was probably a little bit younger than I was now, and took a lot more risks with what I had. I basically had nothing with me. I just had a big frame pack. Again, I'm quite tall, so I've run a big, like a 60 centimeter frame, so I could get a frame pack and the 2 bottles in there quite easily. And yeah, that's all I took. Probably wouldn't do it now, to be honest. I basically had a silk liner and a bivy bag, and you know, that was my sleeping gear. I can't sleep on the floor without a pad now. I'm just a bit older and probably not quite as naive as I was then. I had a rain jacket, rain shorts. That was my insulation. PhD down gilet, arm warmers, knee warmers, just a normal gilet, and then the clothes I was wearing, no spare shorts or anything like that, which I can tell you I really regretted by the end. And then just my spares. Small first aid kit, toothbrush, tape, and then I had a little saddle pack underneath where I had a couple of tubes and some tools. Like I didn't puncture, I ran. So this was kind of early days of road tubeless tyres. I see riding for Hunt there. So these were basically the Hunts, the only disc brake road wheels. Most riders were on rim brakes for this race. I was on disc brakes. I ran the 28mm Schwalbe 1 tyres. At the time, they were quite thick. They've got a bit lighter now and thinner, but at the time they were quite thick and there was a lot of rubber on them. I didn't have one puncture. There were some pretty savage off-road sections in there. I ran just a Ultegra Di2 chain set, or group set. Actually, those shifters are still on my bike now. They're still working, the Di2 shifters. That chain set's on my time trial bike. You know, Shimano stuff does last a very long time. And the interesting thing here, I'm running a time trial saddle, and I pushed the saddle all the way forward. So essentially, I was focusing on riding that sort of time trial position the whole time, and it kind of worked out. Managed to win it, but yeah, I don't think I'd do it with that amount of kit ever again. It was a little bit on the well, let's just say underprepared side. So yeah, it was definitely speed over comfort without a doubt. So yeah, that is basically a quick run through of some of the bikes of this year's Transcontinental Race. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen the daily race coverage, then head over to my YouTube page, give us a subscribe, and see my daily updates. And yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you again soon.